Good evening. Welcome to News at Night for Wednesday, February the 10th. I'm Colette Linden.
I'm Craig Huckerby. We have another cold night tonight, and just how much longer are these cold temperatures sticking around? I'll have that coming up.
Drunk driver Marco Muzzo, who killed 3 children and their grandfather in 2015 in a Vaughan crash, has been granted full parole. The Parole Board of Canada made the decision during a virtual hearing held yesterday. Appearing before the board via video conference, Muzzo, wearing a dark-colored dress shirt, a face mask and shield, said his victims' names for the first time in an official setting. His words came after 4 victim impact statements were heard, including one read by the children's mother, Jennifer Neville Lake, who says Muzzo still does not take full responsibility for his disgusting actions. The children's mother made victim impact statements and further to that said that she'd be out of the province so that she has never to be face-to-face with Muzzo again. There have also been reports that the mother, Jennifer Neville Lake, has attempted to end her life a few times since this horrific and life-altering accident. At the time of the deadly crash, Muzzo was driving home from Toronto Pearson International Airport. He had just flown in from Miami, where he was celebrating his bachelor party. As Muzzo sped through a stop sign in his Jeep Cherokee and smashed into the family's minivan, the children's 64-year-old grandmother and 91-year-old great-grandmother were also seriously injured. According to an agreed statement of facts read in court, a police officer called to the scene said Muzzo had glossy eyes, smelled of alcohol, and urinated on himself. A toxicologist discovered that Muzzo was about 3 times over the legal limit of alcohol consumption while behind the wheel. The Sault Ste. Marie Detachment of the Ontario Provincial Police would like to advise the public that Highway 17 north between Batchewana and Wawa is now open. OPP encouraged motorists to respond to adverse and rapidly changing weather driving conditions by reducing their speed and leaving extra space between vehicles ahead in order to avoid collisions. Weather changes, particularly during the winter, can occur suddenly and dramatically. Sudden storms can drastically change driving conditions and reduce visibility. Driving defensively and responsibly during the winter months will ensure you and your loved ones will reach your destination safely. On February the 9th, Patrol Services arrested 37-year-old Willie McDonald for break-and-enter. At 11:12 p.m., officers received a report of a break-and-enter to a business in the 600 block of Queen Street East. It's alleged that the accused entered the business and stole approximately $1,089 worth of items and left the area. Through the investigation, officers were able to identify the accused, and he was located a short time later and arrested. Officers also located and returned the stolen items. The accused is charged with break-and-enter and theft under $5,000. He was held for bail court. Ontario expects to spend an additional $2.6 billion to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. The province says that brings its one-time pandemic spending to $13.3 billion. The funds were provided to the province from the federal government, and Ontario says they have now all been allocated. In its third quarter financial report released today, the province says the additional $2.6 billion will go towards creating a previously announced grant program for small business and to support hospitals and long-term care homes. Ontario's projected deficit remains at $38.5 billion, unchanged since the 2020 budget was released in November. The province says it has set aside a $3.9 billion contingency fund, up by an additional $2.1 to address any further spending needs from the pandemic for the rest of the fiscal year. Ontario is reporting 1,072 new cases of COVID-19 today and 41 more deaths linked to the virus. Health Minister Christine Elliott says there are 393 new cases in Toronto, 196 in the Peel region, and 125 in York. Today, Ontario began to gradually reopen its economy, starting with 3 public health units. Health units in Hastings, Prince Edward, Kingston, Frontenac and Lennox, and Addington and Renfrew County will move into the least restrictive green category today. That means the province's lockdown and stay-at-home orders will lift in those regions, and restaurants and non-essential businesses can open. On February the 15th, all remaining regions except 3 hotspots in the GTA are set to move to the restrictions framework.
Hi again, everyone. Well, the good news is we have 38 days until spring. The bad news is we have 38 days till spring, and we have some very cold temperatures to deal with over the next 3 days. I'll give you those details coming up.
Huntington's disease is a hereditary degenerative disease of the brain.
It affects your behaviors, your mind.
And it's a relentless disease.
If you took Alzheimer's, if you took schizophrenia, if you took Parkinson's and you mix them all together, you would have Huntington's disease.
Huntington's disease is devastating.
I just hope that I'm the last.
20 years ago, a little friend of ours got a lot of attention from Canadians. The idea of a tiny hippo that could actually be living in our homes got us talking about how easy it is to be fooled by what we see. Today, the internet is full of things that look just as real. In our digital world, we need to think smarter and double-check before we believe anything we see. Find out how at breakthefake.ca.
Well, I hope you had a great day today. Not bad out there. We were a little cool, but we did make it up to minus 12, which is our high. We're going to fall down to minus 25 tonight, one of our coldest nights yet. And those flurries should come to an end. We'll take a look at the flurry map coming up right here. 2 to 4 centimeters of dusting. Most of it actually is closer to the shoreline. Some of it's making its way into inland, but 2 to 4, depending where you are, it's going to be heavier again around the shoreline, and that's coming to an end later tonight. Temperature-wise tonight, minus 22 in Mackinac. That's their coldest spot so far this year. Minus 25 again here in the Sioux. Same with Sudbury. Minus 34 in Timmins and minus 33 in Thunder Bay. So the cold air is sticking around, and it will for several days yet. This is the satellite shot of North America. Again, high pressure and a lot of cold air here. All this system is making its way up here. We have a small little system coming in for Friday. We'll show you that on the systems map. Here it is here. It's kind of almost falling apart because this high pressure system is fairly strong, so it's kind of absorbing all that moisture from the system. But we could pick up a dusting to 5 centimeters on Friday, and then we have another shot coming on Sunday. Again, that system right now looks like it's falling apart. For the next 3 days, we look like this. A mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. May see some morning flurries coming to an end Thursday morning, but temperatures minus 10 for a high. It's going to be a cold one in the morning, though. Could feel closer to minus 30. Friday, another little system coming in. Like I said, again, we could see a dusting from that, minus 12, minus 14 for a high on Saturday. We get colder and colder. Overnight temperatures, again, holding steady in the minus 20s. And then looking ahead for the 7-day forecast, Sunday, again, we have that little system coming in. We could see additional accumulation on Sunday. Right now, it looks like it's falling apart. Temperature-wise, we're holding steady, and we do eventually warm up on Wednesday, and we start climbing up at that point. So not all that bad. That's your weather right now. Jacob and Colette are back with sports right after this.
When social distancing, remember, stay at least 6 feet away and wear your mask. Help save lives.
Have you been drinking more than usual?
Why not go dry this February? With Dry Feb, you'll
help people affected by cancer.
And you can also reduce your own risk.
Go as dry as you're willing to try. Sign up today. It's easier than you think.
Together, we can reduce the spread of COVID-19. Went grocery shopping? Fill the car with gas? Picked up a prescription? Wash your hands often to help reduce the spread of germs. It can save lives. A message from the Government of Canada.
Welcome to the Sports Edition on your news at night. You are with Jacob and Colette. Happy Hump Day.
Getting through the week. But speaking of getting through,
we have one way of getting through very, very easily, and that is a big game tonight.
Toronto versus Montreal. The biggest game so far this season in the Northern Division. We have Toronto, who's currently first in the division, Montreal, who's close behind them in second. These next two games could really decide who's going to pull away in this division.
Absolutely. Now, I know we talked before the show started, like, who do you predict to win? But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm choosing the Leafs. I will not go against the Leafs. And, you know, we'll just leave it at that because I want to drink some. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be interesting to see.
That's a non-response.
As Travis Dermott is back from injury, so he's going to slide into the third pairing with Zach Bogosian. I'll be curious to see if the Leafs run 7 defensemen or not, as they've been doing the past few games.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they don't. I think it was kind of screwing up the line combinations a bit.
Okay.
But Dermott's looking to break back into the lineup, and he needs to play well as he's competing for that 6th spot.
Yeah.
And for someone who doesn't have a point yet as a puck-moving defenseman in 9 games, as you'll see on the graphic, it's a toss-up whether he's going to keep getting the ice time or not.
How do you feel about Simmons sitting out this game against the Canadians?
That's going to hurt the Leafs.
I think so too. Yeah, for
I
sure.
think Simmons is a very energetic player, and I think the Leafs are going to have to try to find a way to bring that energy up.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And the Leafs, I think, for their keys to win is going to be obviously have high energy. Smart plays out of their own zone. That's been a big thing for them this season. They've been really good at moving the puck well.
This year.
But they didn't do the best job against Vancouver with it through the first 2 periods. So I want to see that improved. I want to see a full 60 minutes, so start on time, as former coach Meg Babcock, that was his favorite saying. The Leafs need to make sure they start on time, and they need to make sure they play that full 60 minutes.
Absolutely.
Even with Wayne Simmons out, I want to see depth scoring tonight. Because Montreal does a good job at shutting down star players. So Matthews and Marner aren't going to have the open ice they would against other teams. And Anderson's got to be solid.
Yes, well, Anderson will be solid. I know he will be, right, Anderson? So, okay, let's move on from the Leafs because we don't want to jinx this game anymore. Oh, unless you want to talk about the Habs. But
I do want to talk about the Habs.
Okay, fine.
You know,
you've got
we'll
30 seconds to
have to get some duct tape over this woman here. The Habs to win, they need to play the Leafs hard. I'm talking fort checks. They need to be hitting them hard. Need to make sure they have no easy shifts. They need to shut down Matthews and Marner, which that's a very tough task. I think Montreal wants to keep this a low-scoring game. As much as they do have offensive talent, I think if you go goal for goal, Toronto would edge the Habs.
Yes.
But I think for Montreal, they want to try to play a defensive game, and Montreal's top 6 forwards needs to try to outperform the Leafs' top 6 forwards.
I'm going 4-2 Leafs.
I'm saying 2-1 Leafs.
Okay.
I think it's going to be really low scoring. I think both goalies are going to play really strong.
All right, but that 4th goal, just so you know, will be an open netter because Montreal's going to try and win. Anyways, off to the court. Let's talk Raps. A swish. What's going on?
So the Raptors, they're in a weird spot currently.
Okay.
They're 8th in the conference, which means they would be in the playoffs as of right now, but they're kind of hovering between 8th and 10th. So we talked yesterday how Lowry has his house up for sale, and people are worried that Lowry's being moved. There is another rumor going on. Either Lowry's going to be moved, or the Raptors are going to go get a star center. Drummond's been coming in the conversation a lot for the Cavaliers. He is a monster when it comes to rebounds, which is something the Raptors have been struggling with all season since they lost Gasol and Ibaka. I think Drummond would be a perfect fit for this team. I mean, I think you're going to have to give up a decent amount for him, but that's a move I'd like to see Toronto do. I'm really hoping they don't blow this team up. It's like Lowry's almost at retirement. I think the way he's been dedicated to this city, unless he wants to leave to try to win another championship, I hope they keep him.
Okay.
And we still try to build around him because the team's still pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, it would be also awesome if he just retired with a Raptors jersey around his
I would love that. He's really... Would you think Toronto Raptors, who's the first player you think of now?
Yeah, of course.
It's Kyle Lowry.
Of course.
It's not Vince Carter anymore.
No, back
it's
in the
Kyle
day.
Lowry.
Yeah.
So I really hope the Raptors make another big move and try to push. Because the team is still pretty solid. As much as they've had a shaky season, they've also have not been able to play at home this year, which I think is really hurting the team. Because for them, it's not like they have a home court advantage the way other teams do. They're playing in Tampa, which has got to feel kind of weird to them.
Okay.
As Kawhi Leonard said he didn't want to play in cold Toronto. Now they're in Tampa. Little ironic.
Yeah, I know. The holy eyeball roll to him. But anyway, yeah. Well, see you later, right? We showed the video yesterday of our TSN great sportscaster and his sad farewell to those who were laid off and fired. So we've heard of more layoffs. You want to tell everybody about that?
So TSN Media has laid off everyone from TSN 1040 Vancouver, TSN 1150 Hamilton, and TSN 2090 Winnipeg.
Okay.
What really blows my mind on this, Bell Media was just given $122 million by the federal government to keep payroll. Oh. And now all of a sudden they're laying off all the staff.
Very weird.
Especially, too, a lot of the people who have been laid off, they've been tweeting, including Dan O'Toole and many others, saying Bell Media talks about Bell Let's Talk Day and mental health, to then go back during a very hard time for people, laying a whole bunch of people off and cutting a bunch of jobs.
Which was kind of around the time of Bell Let's Talk Day, was it not?
Yes, Bell Let's Talk Day was
the 26th, I believe, or something like that.
Pretty recently. So, I mean, I can understand why people from Bell Media are very upset. Oh, I guess former Bell Media are very upset. And stay tuned with us because we're going to keep you updated on that one.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Good. Okay, you want to talk the Penguins for a little bit?
Interesting thing enough, so after Jim Rutherford...
names are popping up on this one, eh?
It is. After Rutherford was forced to step down, Ron Hextall has been hired as GM, and funny enough, we were talking about Brian Burke yesterday,
Yes, we
Mr.
were.
Angry.
Mr. Angry Eyes.
He's off the desk and back to a new desk. He's going to be the hockey operations for Pittsburgh.
He's, as much as I enjoyed him with the Leafs, don't get me wrong, I think he was a very disciplined part of the team, but he knows his hockey. He knows his stuff, and if you ever watched him analyze the game and predict games and just talk about the passing and everything, he's always on point. So, really smart move.
I think for Pittsburgh, this is really smart because I don't think this team's ready to blow up yet. I think as long as Crosby and Malkin and Letang are playing at a high level, they need to try to win a cup.
Those are three huge names.
Those are arguably the three best players in the NHL.
Yeah,
you could argue
for
any
sure.
given night that any of those are three of the best players. So I think for Pittsburgh, that's why they wanted to change direction in the front office, as the old front office wanted to make trades. They almost traded Letang, and that's what got Rutherford out the door. So it'll be interesting to see what Pittsburgh does. I watch for them to make a couple big moves closer to trade deadline.
Of course, they're the Pittsburgh Penguins. Okay, yesterday we talked about the CFL, and we mentioned the Edmonton, I think should be Eagles, you think should be the Elks. What's up today in the CFL, the Canadian Football League?
The Toronto Argos, my team, go Argos.
What? Whoa! I'm a Hamilton Tiger Cat fan.
Well, go home.
This guy, I tell you. First he talks about Ottawa Senators, now he's a Toronto Argonauts fan. Okay, go on. Argos, what did they do?
They just signed veteran running back John White to a one-year contract.
Okay.
This is a big signing for the Argos, as they struggled with their running game last season. I think this is really going to fix the running game this season. Last season, he had career highs with 104 rushing yards with only 192 carries and 7 touchdowns along with that. He also had 341 reception yards with 46 receptions. So, I think he's going to be a big part of this Toronto team.
Okay.
I think Toronto might be the biggest spender in the CFL this season because they have the funding to back it up because they're owned by Toronto Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment.
Yeah.
So where other CFO teams are struggling financially, the Argos can max the cap.
Yes.
So watch for them to have a very, very good season this year.
Okay, and watch for them when they lose against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
You mean when they win?
We do have to get back to news, but Jacob, why don't you tell them about our 7:05 sports news?
So just to let everyone know, I know you guys have been watching us during the news at night. This was like a little pilot program for us. We're still going to be keeping news at night with sports, but we're also going to be doing a weekly half-hour show called 7:05 Sports. I'm really excited to be bringing local and national sports back to Sault Ste. Marie and giving them amazing full coverage.
Awesome. So we'll have lots of Sioux Greyhounds, and we'll do all that. And of course, we're going to have some soccer for you, because that's my sport. I guess I should get back to news.
Yeah, I'd say you should. So Colette will be with you with more news right after this.
The Canadian Council of the Blind has been improving the lives of those with vision loss for over 70 years. With more than 65 chapters across Canada, it is the largest membership-based organization of the blind. People of all ages dealing with vision loss can join and participate in sports and recreation activities, technology training and assistance, peer support groups, and advocacy programs. For more information, visit ccbnational.net or call 1-877-304-0968.
Drop by one of our 3 Sault Ste. Marie locations. You do life, we do taxes.
The Ontario government is once again extending electricity rate relief for families, small businesses and farms to support those spending more time at home while the province maintains the stay-at-home order in the majority of public health regions. The government will continue to hold electricity prices to the off-peak rate of 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour until February the 22nd. This lower rate is available 24 hours per day, 7 days a week for time of use and tiered customers. Albert Street between Andrew and Gore will be reduced to one lane with a new all-way stop at the Gore Street and Albert Street intersection beginning Wednesday, February the 10th. City staff will temporarily close the curb lane on the north side with concrete barricades. There will be space left between the barricades for residents to safely enter and exit out of driveways. Public Works will also ensure the maintenance of snow removal during the winter months. This new stop sign and lane reduction will address ongoing traffic safety at the Gore Street and Albert Street intersection. Full construction to realign Albert Street will take place in the summer of 2021. Motorists and pedestrians are urged to take caution and obey all signage in the area during this time. The City of Sault Ste. Marie thanks everyone for its cooperation. The Algoma Public Health is reporting a new confirmed case of COVID-19 today from Sault Ste. Marie and area. Through contact tracing, Algoma Public Health notifies all close contacts directly. Case number 187 is reported to be self-isolating and cause of exposure is listed as international travel. This patient was tested on February the 9th. The Algoma region now has 21 active cases with 2 hospitalized. The city has awarded their 2020 Heritage Awards to 2 local buildings, Guy Trafficanti at the Algoma Conservatory of Music and the Machine Shop owned by Tony Porco. The Machine Shop was built in 1899. The 122-year-old building doesn't look much different than it did when Francis H. Clerg built it. Its original purpose was to house machines which reduce the water content in wood pulp, making it more marketable. The Machine Shop now houses a wedding venue and restaurants, among other things, inside the walls. Well, Craig, there are 38 days left until we hit spring. Tell
38 days, the countdown is on. We have another week of cold temperatures and then we start to moderate a little bit. And then March, still questionable, but it should be above seasonal, but also above seasonal precipitation too. Remember that. So it could be snow, it could be rain.
Oh, we'll go with rain, but thanks for joining us at News at Night for Wednesday, February the 10th. For Craig and Colette, have a great night.